good. This can be my notes. Yeah, pleasure to be here this morning. I was thinking what to talk about, and Father's Day, and it kept coming to me really how we might not necessarily have an easy run of it, but it doesn't mean God's not a loving Father. Like Jesus going to the cross, probably the best example. But Jesus said, "Not your will be done, but my will be done." It's great suffering, but God the Father knew the great victory. And how it works with racing motorbikes on a racetrack or not, we'll see how we go. Yes, I've raced motorcycles for about 30 years, and I used to put it on the line all the time. I probably raced in about 1,500 races, and not that I wasn't too bothered about hurting myself, but I was prepared to just throw it all on the line anyway. And I think part of my childhood probably made it easier to do that for some reason, and through suffering. And you talked about before the sufferings of Christ, and we're part of that, but we're also part of the victory of that. And people have been through all sorts of traumatic things in their lives. You can hardly imagine what some people go through. Lost parents and children even, and some grandchildren, and some, abandoned, and some seriously abused, and you think, why? But God is in control, and through what stuff I went through, I was like, thank you, Dad, because it brought me to my knees. I needed a lot of baggage and a lot of hurt, a lot of stuff before I would surrender. That was just my nature. I was quite proud and I do things my way, and it needed to be a lot. So, but when I did, it was actually totally incredible. I've just been filled with God's love, filled with His Holy Spirit, and filled with the revelation of who He is, because carrying enough to surrender. So, I'll somehow try and think about that as we go through. But you may as well play this little clip here. I'm on the splash bike that's coming into the screen at the back there. That Whiti. I don't know, it was a video.
Okay.
Which one is you, Andrew? Which one?
Just the fourth one, just coming into the screen.
Okay.
So this is a very dangerous circuit, Whiti. There's Armco barriers around the outside, concrete walls. The guy with the radar gun down the back straight came and said he clocked up one of us at like 314 kilometres an hour, something. So these bikes are 200 horsepower, and you've got to really hang on to them. And so I got away with a lot really, and I know it's through God's grace as well. But I don't know, will it play?
There was.
Doesn't love you today, does it?
It doesn't.
See, I told you we were having technical problems.
It was there, the play button was there.
Yeah, it's.
There we go.
I could make the noises.
I mean, I think I'm doing it right.
Maybe.
Do you want us to do sound effects or?
Yeah.
If you could put in the Andrew Stroud story on YouTube, it's got a few bits and pieces that one of the students at Hamilton Christian School put together when I spoke at the prize giving.
I just have one more.
But anyway, I'll just carry on. You see what you can do. I think talking about fathers, I think we have to know what our fathers went through as well, and and motorbikes. I don't know where motorbikes came from me, but my grandfather had about 9 army Indians in the war. My father never had any motorbikes. He did about 100 metres in the army to get his licence. And my grandmother, her father died when she was about 3 years old in World War I, and her mother died a year later, something like that. Then her and her sister and her 2 little brothers went and lived with the grandmother, and she died when she was about 13. And then she got put on a boat to New Zealand with her older sister. The two little brothers left in England. She never saw them again. But one of her younger brothers was Joseph Potts. I looked it up, I googled it, and there's Joseph Potts racing team in England, 1950s, 80s or something. So I always wondered. And one of the times, my grandfather went to war for about 4 years. Dad was maybe 3. And he got sent off to somewhere for 6 months to stop crying. I don't know what that was about. Away from his mother. And then, apparently his dad came back from the war and thought he was spoiled or not living up to what he should be, and was trying to fix it, but not really working out. I had a great relationship with my grandfather. He passed away when I was about 8 years old. He died for a couple of years and went. But my father always carried a lot of stuff. So you don't blame him when you see the background and you see. But at the end, he passed away a few years ago. But in the end, we were worshipping with him, and praying with him. He was pretty well alcoholic all his life, but dealing with a lot of stuff. And it was pretty volatile at times growing up in that. But it gave me a real determination. Like on the racetrack, sometimes I felt sorry for the other guys trying to keep up with me because I was prepared just to give it everything. Because of that. But that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's just not.
So, when my grandfather did come back from the war, he started Strauss Wines and Spirits in Upper Hutt. And so, we had plenty of alcohol in the house. And my father went on to manage the shop. And so we had a whole wine rack in the house. And Mum and Dad used to drink plenty. And we got to a stage where they ended up splitting up when I was about 8 years old. And what happened? So it's not quite blowing as planned, but anyway. We prayed as we come here that God would do something. And I didn't have to be overly prepared, because he would. So that's what we'll rely on, shall we?
Yeah.
And we'll get there, I'm sure. So, after Mum and Dad separated, there was kind of peace in the house for once, and it was fine. I didn't mind at all. And then Mum would carry on drinking, and she'd go out to parties and things, and she had epilepsy. We'd keep always trying to revive her or bring her back to the fist in front of us, and it's quite scary being that young, trying to get her tongue out of it. We're told that she'd swallow her tongue and she'd choke and stuff. And kind of wait for her to come around to get a cup of tea. But one morning something happened a lot worse. She'd been out, I think she didn't even really want to live, but she'd had a lot of pills and she'd had alcohol and had a turn.
Sorry.
And she just stopped breathing. We were trying to bring her back, and she's just, like, she's gone. And we next door, across the road, we got a neighbour who's a Christian lady. She came over and started praying for Mum. And eventually she came around and said that she'd been given back and told her it wasn't. Yeah, that it wasn't her time, and she delivered. We delivered it written in the clouds and things, and so from that time on, it's like she's born again. She stopped smoking, stopped drinking, started going to Bill Sabritsky's home group. started taking us to all the evangelists that came to town here at Princeton, the old great ones, and what else? It was a whole different life. He had noticed a big difference. He came back about 3 months later, and they were together, all the way from 45 years later. So they're both gone now, but it was a total, redemption story. We know God did it all the way. So I suppose I still went on my rebellious kind of ways through my teenage years. I still carried a lot of hurt and stuff in the past, but when I got on a motorbike, I just loved it. I could just ride them hard out. I just felt free. I could leave everything else behind, and I was just going for it. And when I was about 18, I started racing them, and I couldn't get enough. I just wanted to race more and more. And I was doing engineering at the time. I would never thought racing could really be a career. I could make a job out of it. But then, after a couple of years, I went to Australia, raced at Bathurst, and ended up finishing second, first up. It's amazing, it's a 500 kilometre race. I did it by myself, and most other guys had 2 riders. I did 3.5 hours by myself, and it really, really hot. But it kind of opened doors to other things. I mean, raced in America from there, full time, in Japan, season over there, then Malaysia over there, then Europe, about 5 seasons in Europe and 5 seasons in America. Travelled all over the world racing motorbikes, every couple of weeks a different racetrack. And it was all I wanted to do, because I couldn't have thought of anything else better. I loved it really. And you could really also say...
Wow, I just built...
Sorry,
mate. Gotta love this, eh?
Alright.
If you're going to get it wrong, you might as well go the whole way.
It's a great day in Whitianga. Nice drive over this morning as well.
Could do that, yeah. Should we do it?
Is that me?
I don't know what this is going to be, but it's got your name on it.
I know that's just...
Is it alright to play?
Not.
Oh no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that one.
What should we search for?
The Andrew Stroud story.
Oh, okay.
That's what... That one there? Yeah.
This one?
That one.
Okay.
Should we just hit it?
Give it a go, yeah. It's a bit long, I'll tell you to stop at some stage.
Yep.
Before you go to sleep.
Mentally strong too, Andrew Stroud too. He says he draws a lot of strength from his religion. Well, one man that has pulled the pin for some reason is Chris Seaton, because he's disappeared. Oh, Stroud's got it wrong. He's overrun Robert Holden. Now that is a history-making occasion in itself. We captured it on screen. You don't often see Andrew Stroud make any type of mistake. Well, we're just giving him a big rest, but now let's see what he can do about it. This is if he can recover. This is the true sign of the champion. He can put his head down and close the gap. Well, Craig Sheriff will think that Christmas has come all round again, because that was yesterday. He handed again, Ricks. Well, he's getting closer, I think, Pat. Yeah, he's going to open up a can of whip ass. I've got my Bush stopwatch on it, and I reckon he is. I think he's starting to close him down. Well, this is going to be the problem, though. 49 and a half early in the race. Let's see what he can do now. If you're going to see some lap records, now it's going to happen. Over the best from Vincent. I think Craig Sheriff might have been slowed just a little bit there by some of the lap traffic. Paul Brown doing his best to get out of the way. And here comes Andrew Stroud. And I said he was closing down. How did he get the distance down so quickly? I think it's a 49 narrowness. 49 second flat lap. That's how. Well, Craig Sheriff's the Andrew Stroud has just taken big chunks off.
Wow, they're so fast. Yeah, at the start of the day, no one would have dreamed they'd be doing 49 flaps.
Well, look at this. I'm sure that Craig Shearers thought he had this in the bag, and now he's got a tiger on his tail. It's the brother Suzuki. Andrew Stroud has closed the gap right up, and there's nothing in this now. Well, if it wasn't exciting before, it's about to get exciting now, because Shearers makes a small mistake.
I just think he's just trying so hard. He's really starting to get that power on early, and that's bucking and weaving.
Over the Bezra bits they come now. Down the inside comes Andrew Stroud. Has he got track position? I think he's got the nose in front. He has. Stroud goes into the front through Redco. Unbelievable stuff in the Robert Holden Memorial. You said it before, Pat. Robert Holden would be loving it.
Leave it there.
Did you win it? Did you win it? Did you win?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah!
I think that the lap record's about 12 years. I think the next one's a big crash right here. Can you imagine?
So just keep playing.
Yeah.
Andrew Stroud, black and red colours there.
This is my big chance to make it in Australia.
He's done a pretty good job too, because he had to get around all of that mess that happened in front of him. Kept his composure and was fighting his way back. The side's helmet, the tear off, just flapping in the wind. He's been trying to get it off but couldn't, so it's just let it go now. I guess it's out of the way, but must be frustrating. There he goes again trying to get it. It's annoying.
Looks like Snoopy out there in the red barrel when he's off. I think he'll have a go at getting it off going down the straight, because that's really about the only chance you've got to have a bit of a, as soon as he gets it up. Oh, that's Stroud. Is it Stroud?
Andrew Stroud. Well, we've seen, we've seen some action happen in the superbike race there. I mean, Stroud just coming up the circuit. We'll obviously get another look at that. But we're on the last lap now. I think if anybody would be pretty relieved to be this fellow, Aaron Slide. I mean, there's been bikes going every which way. He has done the perfect job from green flag to the checkered. He's hanging on now. Andrew Stroud being attended to very quickly this time, I might add. Here we go again. We're just seeing the end of that, Barry, but oh, gee, it was a big one.
I tell you what, was extremely lucky that the bike didn't land there, because when they do a cartwheel thing like that, as lucky Andrew was out the way over here, but it would have been very nasty if the bike would have landed on it.
Yes, I had a few like that. Yeah. Yeah, you always kind of think you're in control until you're not, then you know you can do about it. Kind of along for the ride. That was a race. It was at the Australian Grand Prix, which were all the big teams were there, and I took my bike from New Zealand, and I thought I'd try and, make an impression to try and pick up a big ride, and it was all going to plan because I qualified pole position in front of a lot of the factory teams, and it was quite amazing really. But then I was late getting out, the guy shut the gate, and he said, no, you can wait till they've all gone, and then there's 75 bikes on the grid, and they all took off, and then I had to wait for pit lane with cold tyres, and I took off at the back, and I got right through to just behind second place after 18 laps. So I was on an absolute mission. I was so wound up. But the mechanic didn't tighten the oil filter up properly and safety wire it. So it unscrewed a little bit and blew the seal out and oil sprayed on the back tyre, so I came up over the hill. I was probably doing over 200 kilometres an hour over the tunnel was a hill. And at the top of the hill, as I shut off the throttle, it just went straight sideways, and I was looking way down to the bottom of the hill. I thought, if this throws me off here, I'm going to fly all the way down and just be smashed on the ground. But I didn't quite. It just hung on to it, and it flicked right back the other way, and it nearly did the same, threw me off again the other way, and then not quite, nearly the other way again, all the way down the hill until I hit the grass, and oh. But apparently they played that clip for like 10 years on Gillette Wheel of Sports. So at least they entertained some people from it all. Another one in America was a track with the longest straight in America that we raced on. So, and the bike was wobbling everywhere. It had a mechanical problem. The steering damper was leaking oil. So it wasn't working, so I kept winding up the clicker to try and adjust it to make it work, because it was really trying to throw me off. But they're not supposed to do it, but this damper, you wind it up to the point where it locked the steering solid. So I came onto this big long straight and gave it another couple of clicks. And I was 12,000 revs, top gear on a Suzuki Formula 1 bike, coming up to the pits on one side, the grandstand on the other side, and then all of a sudden the bike just did a huge wobble and just threw me over the handlebars. I was up Superman, I was flying at absolute warp speed. And I was flying through the air, I had time to think. I thought I could actually break something every bounce here and just be total mincemeat really. But when I landed, it was like landing on a mattress. I didn't even hear it. Then I just started sliding. And I knew if I started rolling and tumbling, that's not very good. You know, you break stuff. So I went right up on one hand. I was trying to be like a starfish, and I went right up on one hand, and I nearly started rolling, and I pushed so hard. This is over 200 kilometres an hour, and it was just enough to push me back on the road again. I spread out, and it started wearing through my arm here, and I got that out of the way, and then I started trying to keep the hot spots down. Then right up the end of the circuit, I went right past the pits and right past the grandstand. I didn't bother trying to wave to anybody. And I tumbled right down this bank, and I got up and I thought, man, I'm alright. Wow, it's incredible. And I actually pushed the bike slid on its side and had crash protection. It was actually alright. I pushed it back past the grandstand, and these people come flocking down to the fence with these video cameras trying to interview me. You know, hey dude, we don't know how you walked away from that one. They pushed it back to the pits, and they actually repaired the bike. It was an endurance race. And I got back on and went out and set the fastest lap of the race. Just can't kind of leave on a bad note. So I had a few of those. That was the downside of racing. That was the part which was always sketchy, but I did about 1,500 races and kind of got away with it. And my father ended up being my biggest fan. After all these years of us kind of at each other, and it was an amazing journey, really, because when I first came alive to the Lord when I was about 25, I went to summer harvest camp, went up in front and said the sinner's prayer, the Bill Spritsky was speaking. Then I went back to my seat, and the first thing I saw between my legs and down the bottom on the ground, and there's a little bit of wood that I'd written "Be Happy" on it 3 days before, and another part of the whole thing, and there it was. And I thought maybe God's just reminding me what I just put down. But anyway, I went home. I was a bit annoyed. How do I let these people talk me into this? I still wanted to do my own thing, kind of thing. But then a few months later, my sister became a Christian and did a home group at home, and she wanted me to come along, and I was kind of there. But then at the end of it, I went to bed, and I was just thinking more seriously than I probably ever have done in my life. It's like God allowing me to go right to the deepest place and really understand what was going on. And I knew it was Him giving me the opportunity to give my life to Him. And I did. I just said, yes, Lord, I give you my life. And it's got substance. I was definitely different from that moment on. And but still a journey, walking through other stuff, and still a journey getting proper relationship back with my father. I've had lots of ministry. One time in ministry, God took me back again. I was really young, like 1 year old, and I had a real love for my father. I said, wow, I really got me by surprise. I didn't actually know it, and I felt it. Because I got disconnected somewhere along the line when I was like 2 or 3 or something, and we didn't really have that. So, God's a restorer, families and relationships. Karen and I were in America. We went to Toronto Church, that Toronto Airport Vineyard, Toronto Blessing Days, years ago. So I had to go out of America to get my visa, to renew my visa. Went to Canada. I was racing in America. And we pulled up in our motorhome. It was just as they started a 72-hour non-stop worship time. And you could sleep in the church. You could do. I went and talked to a guy from Pawanui actually for till 6:30 in the morning, all through the night. His father's a pastor. I don't know, maybe someone here might.
Oh,
Yeah?
no, it's not.
Was it? Okay, and he's really keen on the Britain bike and that, the rigging and stuff. But yeah, after the 3 days there, they had like a seminar on bitter roots, things we carry in childhood. And these people were praying for me afterwards. And I didn't even figure what they were praying, but all of a sudden I'm this 4-year-old again, talking to my father. More genuinely than I've ever done in my whole life, by far. Just the real me talking to the real him. And I said to him, why were you so harsh with us when we were just so little? And then I could just see in his eyes that he had exactly the same. And there was just no other way. It's all he knew. He didn't have to say anything. And he just comes, gives me this big hug, and we're both in tears. And I went and sat down, and Karen said, when you're getting prayed for up there, I saw this amazing picture of you and your dad both hugging each other, both in tears. Right? Thunder. So we went home, after being in America, and went to Mum and Dad. Then we were leaving, and Dad's on the driveway, and Karen said, we're not leaving until you give your dad a hug. I said, oh, we don't really do that. Come on, no, we're not going. And she wouldn't budge. So okay, so to get out of the car and go and give Dad a hug. And at first he didn't know what I was doing. He jumped and he was like, what's going on here? And then finally give him a hug, and he just starts weeping, And I went back a couple of days later, spent all day in the garden with him, just pulling out weeds and cutting and pruning stuff and getting rid of all this overgrown stuff around the house. And Mum said that the next morning, last night your father said that was the best day of his life. But God's in the business of that. Another time I went to this home group in Christchurch, these ladies that prayed for John Britton, who built the Britton motorbike that won the World Series on in New Zealand. And they've been going to pray for him a lot, and John rang me, he's terrified, he got told he had 3 months to live with cancer, then rang me back and said, obviously filled with the Holy Spirit and just beaming. This cancer doesn't get me, I'm going to be a preacher like Billy Graham. He said, I've always known there's more, but I finally found it. It's just cost me everything to get it. And It's an incredible prayer group that they had there. And they asked me if they could pray for me. And one of the things that happened to me, they started praying for me, and all of a sudden I go back again. I'm 2 years old on the floor. In my old house in Upper Hart, where we grew up, even until I was 5. And I was crawling on the floor, and I got into the pot plant, and I was throwing dirt all over the carpet. See pot plant? And I could recognise it as our old house. And then I knew someone was watching me, and one of the ladies said, Jesus is watching you. And then I knew he was smiling. And then straight away, the lady in the prayer group said, Jesus is smiling at you. He's delighting in how he's made you adventurous, has made you. To get into things. And that's what I was doing. I was having a movie of it. I was getting into stuff. And just as they said it. And then I could tell Jesus was holding his hand out to me. Straight away, another lady came. Jesus was holding his hand out to you. I knew he wanted me to take his hand. And then straight away, another lady. Jesus wants you to take his hand. And at that moment, it just got me by such a surprise. I couldn't actually do it. It seemed silly, but it took so much trust. It took me coming right out of myself, just no protection, just a vulnerable me, the very child kind of I was, just to come out to take his hand. But it showed me how messed up my trust was. So it showed me the love of the Father, his love, rather than what could have gone on back then with Dad being alcoholic, and he was a perfectionist, nothing could be out of place. His only child, military kind of background. He'd throw dirt on the floor, and you're going to get it to the point where can he actually control his anger or not? Or am I going to be in serious trouble? So, don't get me wrong, I totally love my dad and totally restored everything. But lots of us have come from different stuff that we've had to work through, and it can be a lifetime project to get there. But God's on our side. Jesus became obedient to death to his Father, even death on a cross. Therefore God exalted him to the very highest place. At the what's the rest of it? Every knee shall bow, every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. He's been given all authority over heaven and earth. All that's under the earth. He's seated at the right hand of the Father. And it's all through, tremendous kind of suffering. So we're all just walking through this journey. That's our whole life, can do. But we have such an awesome Father, and we never promise an easy life. And, consider it joy, pure joy, when you face trials of many kinds. Because, in the end, we have a glorious inheritance. No eye has seen, no ear has heard, no mind can conceive the things that God has in store for those who love him. So, and then the conclusion of it, I suppose, one thing that really helped me, when I first surrendered, because I was carrying so much, I was like, thank you, Dad, because I knew he put on so much of it. I was so grateful, because I would have never come to that place if I hadn't had that. I knew I was too prideful, too stubborn. So that made it so much easier to give as well. And then he knew in his process, I kind of helped lead him into it. He saw the miracle in the family, because he knew the power of the sin in the family. It was broken. So he got softer and softer all the way through his life. Especially at the end when he got dementia, he was loving it. He was just thinking away in his own world. He was great. He was super happy. So, and his eyes just got sparkling all the way through. So that's how our God works. So I think we all need to be expectant of that through our families. And everyone's not appearing that way. We just go through it anyway. We go through the valleys that he wants us to. We go to the mountaintops and he wants us to. Serve an amazing God. Anything else I can say? Any questions?
what you ride again? Is that what you ride?
Yeah, I've ridden all sorts of motorbikes. Probably had over 100 motorbikes on over 100 different tracks. I think I've raced on more racetracks than anyone else in the world because I've done so many different national championships. It's amazing. But nothing more amazing than serving our God.
Amen.